Once upon a time, 5 monumental sins were set to annihilate the world, but now they're just kids in my orphanage. I thought a change of environment would fix them, but to my shock, they've secretly formed a group called Blue Moon. In just 5 days, they obliterated the biggest crime syndicate in the East. All this chaos erupted from a throwaway line I casually wrote, which managed to sway the Yandere sin of wrath. Because of that, she rallied the other sins under my command and made me their ruler. By the time the tale kicks off, I've somehow ascended to become the chief of world-ending villains. What on earth is unfolding? 2 years back, I found myself in this fantasy realm. At that time, I had no clue what this place was about. All I aimed for was to survive using my title as a count's son. Until one fateful day, a maid spilled the tea on my 2 brothers, Leo Faraday and Tonio Faraday. Just hearing that surname sparked a chilling sensation in my chest. Could this be Cicidria? Cicidria is a turn-based RPG. No matter what path you take, when the 5 great sins emerge, all nobles and towns will meet their doom. Among them, Count Faraday shows up as a minor character, a decadent noble, before the story kicks in. I'm so aware of this because they're the first trash family to be wiped out by the heroes. I recall this place dishing out tons of experience points. I never dreamed I'd be the youngest son in the Faraday clan. Music Alan. Damn it. Right now, I'm crossing my fingers that the goddess sends me back since the good times here are just a 10-year lease. Music. Aren't transmigrators supposed to have perks? Why am I missing a cheat ability? As these thoughts swirl, I suddenly spring to my feet. It's not that there aren't any perks. After all, music, I know the game's storyline 10 years ahead, which gives me vital intel about what's to come. To survive unscathed, I quietly hatch a scheme in my mind. That plan, reform the 5 great sins. They're still kids, their powers likely haven't awakened yet. Time flies, and 2 months later, my aide is briefing me on the situation. He's already rescued all the orphans from the Eastern Lab of Horrors and handed management over to Yudia. I nod, pleased. Good job. Evan pauses, surprised. You're complimenting me, right, young master? Because your face doesn't give anything away. Then I muster a grin. I'll be counting on you from now on. I can't help it. Actions that should be effortless feel completely muddled with this expression. This is the first time Evans felt trusted like this. He awkwardly scratches his head. Anyway, thanks for the compliment, young master. In Cedria, where betrayal runs rampant, Evan is one of the rare trustworthy characters, so I snapped him up the moment I found him. Then Evan's tone shifts. The attack was to save that girl, Yudia, right? I nod in confirmation. Just as he suspected from his mercenary days, that girl is definitely no ordinary child. She's so strong that Evan can't fathom why she'd let herself be trapped, but there's something even more baffling. Why don't you bring her back to train her yourself, young master? Leaving her out there means missing out on her power. It's understandable that Evan is puzzled, though it seems I'm choosing to let her be without tapping into her abilities. This was all part of my master plan. Yudia belongs to the Cursed Blood clan, having made a pact with a being from another realm to wield its strength. She embodies the sin of wrath among the 5 major sins, a monster linked to countless deaths, but as long as she can grow up without chaos, she might just avoid a catastrophic fate. I'm truly brilliant. To keep Evan from guessing too much, I need to create a believable excuse. It's straightforward. The timing just isn't right. Upon hearing this, Evan can't hide his frown. He senses his young master is playing a far grander game. I then give Evan the signal that he can't spill this information. I also provide him with generous support and, at last, hand him a comforting letter for Yudia. After enduring such harsh experiments, she deserves some comfort. Even though I'm uncertain if it will genuinely soothe her, I have to try since there's a hidden message within the letter. This phrase echoed countless times in the game. It's an incantation meant to soothe the Cursed Blood clan and bring tranquility. The issues of dark beings, the void of light beings, are their only talent and identity. This is a moment from the Wrath Sin narrative. Back then, reciting the incantation was futile, even though it was what triggered the conflict after failing the game. But now, 10 years before the game begins, there's still time. I've already handled one of them. Now, it's time to rescue the next. It sounds absurd that a single phrase could connect me to a monster, but given that it's a race that reveres otherworldly beings, perhaps it might actually work. After all, ordinary people can't grasp the minds of these fanatics. The scene shifts to Yudia, who is carefully perusing the letter I crafted for her. Evan finds her increasingly peculiar. She resembles a child devoid of emotions. Then Yudia finally speaks. You mentioned the one who penned this letter as a certain Lord Alan, right? Why hasn't he summoned me to his side? The aura emanating from Yudia chills Evan, making him break into a cold sweat. Since displaying magical power usually requires at least mastery-level ability, how can a girl not yet 10 achieve this? Evan swiftly recalls what his young master said. The young master declared, "The timing isn't right yet." Hearing this, Yudia gradually relaxes. She clutches the letter to her chest, her face lighting up with a joyful smile, because that phrase is a promise shared solely between her and her master. She understands why her master hasn't brought her to him. It must be because the timing isn't right. At this instant, Yudia has already harnessed her power and transformed into the Blood Queen of Wrath. The scene changes once more. Months later, I'm in the library, rifling through heaps of information, yet I can't uncover any leads about the third protagonist. Meanwhile, Evan rushes over as he successfully rescued the second child. I tentatively ask him again, "You treated him kindly, right?" Very gently. Before Evan can respond, the library door bursts open. Oh my, isn't this our illiterate little Alan? This is none other than Count Faraday's second son, Antonio. He begins to mock me the instant he enters, and it's always like this. I can't fathom how the original Alan tolerated this. Even though I want to retaliate, since he wants to use the library, I'll take my leave. Just as Tonio stomps on my head, a dagger intervenes. "Both of you pests, out. I don't want any bloodshed first thing in the morning." This is Leo, the oldest son of the Faradays. Tonio quickly redirects his anger towards him. From the moment they cross paths, they're ready to tear each other apart. Leo jibes about the strong medicinal scent on him, while Tonio snaps back, telling him to wash off that makeup. I seize the chance amid their clash to slip away. Even though the Faradays are just cannon fodder, their strength at the start exceeds expectations. The Wild brothers fiercely compete for the title of family head. The eldest, Leo, known as the Playboy King, dominates almost half of the entertainment industry. Tonio, the Potion King, runs a massive pharmaceutical empire. For my own peaceful existence, I can't provoke either of them. I just want to live blissfully as the incompetent, illegitimate son. Back in the room, Evan speaks up again. He perceives the second child as quite extraordinary, but upon seeing me, he's left speechless. How does the young master know about secret experiments afar and save people from the slave trade? It seems you can barely defend yourself. Evan is baffled, no matter how hard he thinks. Are you sending this child? We've worked tirelessly to find the orphanage as well. I reply calmly. Evan just pointed out that the child is unusual. Well, of course he is. After all, he's a world-ending figure. Music in the UK made up of various nations. Dees McCarran was sold from the depths of the slave market in the core nation, Kellyan. He's the second in command in Sisita. After being thrust into slavery, he faced torment and roamed endlessly. Eventually, he became the sin of sloth among the 5 great sins, annihilating kingdoms in merciless fashion. This segment of the tale shocked many players, revealing the game's harshness. Despite bearing the name of sloth, his wrath is rivetingly active, always returning the favor to those who wronged him many times over. I keep reminding Evan to be gentle with him. Sending him to the orphanage isn't a final decision, just a matter of timing. Evan suspects this much. So, is the letter you sent to Miss Yudia linked to that second child? I affirm this. To build a bond with Yudia through everyday matters, while ensuring that the ailing child I sent is well taken care of. That evening, Yudia watches from afar as this boy radiates purple light. He stares blankly into nothingness. Then she approaches him. You seem utterly shattered. It's the mark left by that thing, isn't it? The term black goat rolls off Yudia's tongue. It's this exact word that triggers Dees, who appeared broken just moments ago, igniting a fire in his eyes, filled with murderous intent and confusion. Yudia reads those feelings clearly. Music, congratulations. That lord has chosen you. Soon, you will possess great power. Embrace the strength given to you and unleash it. Yudia watches Diaz, smiling. Music. Simply pledge unwavering loyalty to that lord, and then your vengeance will be yours. Instantly, waves of purple light burst forth from Diaz like flowing threads. Meanwhile, Yudia gazes at the letter from her master. She senses her master still holds great regard for her. After finishing the letter, the corners of her lips lift. She believes she will reunite with her master soon. A few days later, the scene transitions. Just as I'm rolling my eyes in frustration over the missing third boss, shocking news hits me like a ton of bricks. The second young master has met his end. Stunned, I can't move. The Faraday family's second son is gone. How could it happen so quickly? The Faraday family hurriedly arranges Tanya's funeral. Yet surprisingly, Aldi, the father, appears entirely unaffected by his son's death, parading women on either side at the ceremony. Honestly, this place feels like a twisted fantasy. Family scandals are grosser than the grime of any slum. Tanya's death is officially labeled as an accidental fall, but that clashes with my knowledge. In the game, he falls in battle against Leo for control of the family. Right now, Leo wears a smirk that's practically a grin. The culprit is either him or his crew. Yet, I'm not about to get tangled up in this drama. My initial plan is moving along nicely. Just need to handle the 5 great sins. Looks like it's time to pick up the pace. A year zooms by. After the air issue is sorted, Tanya's pharmaceutical empire is also devoured by Leo, and the Count's family enjoys calmness this way. During this time, Yudi and I become pen pals. Staying connected with her is bound to pay off down the line. From what I gather, they all seem like innocent kids. As I finish reading the letter, I'm puzzled by this month's sponsorship amount. The funding for such a small orphanage keeps rising. How strange. Evan beside me explains, music. This isn't common, but it's a blessing for them. Then Evan updates me on the latest news. According to Guild Intel, we've picked up his trail. I'm quite pleased. At last, we've located the third boss. The scene shifts to the heart of drug trade chaos. Marco Leo, the eldest son of the Faraday clan, has a crowd of assassins gathered here. Their numbers have surged to several hundred. Yet, when 2 leaders step out, they're met with a ghastly sight. Their underlings are desperately drawing their own daggers. Music. Every distorted face reveals utter despair and begging. With arms shaking, they press the blades against their throats, slowly pushing inwards. In the end, over 10 people take their own lives amidst the sickening sounds of flesh tearing. Once it's quiet, Diaz, who was lurking in the shadows moments ago, silently, music approaches. He ponders the purpose behind this massacre. Unlike a year prior, his eyes now shine with clarity. Yudia casts her gaze upon him. Have you lost your edge? Diaz rejects her assessment. I know they've turned humans into poison. I'm just pondering if wiping out this filth aids in revenge. Yudia beams at Diaz's query. Absolutely. This is laying the groundwork for that lord's return. When that lord arrives, he surely wouldn't want to remain in such a dilapidated place. Diaz studies the pattern beneath him, nods as if suddenly enlightened, and falls silent. Understanding his role, everything aligns with that lord's desires. Blue Moon serves as that lord's weapon. After they depart, a moon totem lingers on the ground. 2 years music have passed since Alan and Yudia started exchanging letters. Evan is now scouring every corner for Alan. Finally, he spots him in the backyard. Evan is utterly wiped out. He's already sent the 5th child off to the orphanage. Throughout this time, he's rescued the remaining 3 sins. Tracking down the 3rd, the sin of greed, took quite a bit of effort. With my gaming smarts and pushing Evan to his limits, we nailed it. I glance at Evan, who's been hustling all year long, and I signal it's cool for him to take a break now. Evan hesitantly checks, is it really all over? Once I nod, he hits the ground instantly. Evan exhales deeply, but you're not looking too thrilled, young master. I motion for him to look closer. Don't you see I'm already grinning? Evan stares, bewildered. I'll take that as you smiling. I stretch out and gather my thoughts. I never saw this coming, it all went too smoothly. The formation of the 5 great sins needs solid catalysts. Even with my best effort to save them, it would be a tall order before they hit rock bottom. Basically, my only concern was rescuing the sin incarnations with wrecked bodies and minds, but now, that worry seems pointless. My only concern was rescuing the sin incarnations with wrecked bodies and minds, but now, that worry seems pointless. All 5 kids are growing up tough and healthy. Then I ask again about the orphanage. You didn't spot anything off when you checked the orphanage last time, did you? Evan pulls out the letter Yudia wrote to me. Someone like Snow Wolf, when he first returned, was completely still like a broken doll. But now, he's fitting in just fine at the orphanage. Wolf, when he first returned, was completely still like a broken doll. But now, he's fitting in just fine at the orphanage. And Lena, too, when we rescued her, her eyes were sealed shut, vowing never to face this world again. The last time I visited, she was actually engrossed in a book and seemed way more cheerful. I had no idea Yudia could pull this off. Could it be due to some special trait where she has a soft spot for the orphanage? Seeing it this way, Yudia is also a good soul. Evan looks puzzled about why I'm curious about this. Did she write you something special? Evan looks but finds nothing. On the flip side, the kids at the orphanage are thriving, which gives them a sense of pride. I never expected them to blossom so well. The environment truly plays a crucial role. Then Evan asks again about the question that's haunted him for years. So, when do you plan on meeting them? You always mention when the moment is right. This leaves me fumbling for words because I don't want to meet them at all. Sure, there are perks to keeping up good relations with them, but the way they turn into sins is way too painful and tragic. From the game's memories, their personalities were shattered from childhood. Maybe my interference will help them heal, but I'm still a bit wary of them, so I give another vague reply. Maybe in 5 years. Anyway, in this dark world, I just need to level up my defense skills. Thankfully, Alan has a tad bit of magical talent. While I'm deep in thought, Evan brings up Blue Moon. It's a group that's recently made a name for itself in the eastern region. They're said to specialize in hunting rival gangs. This is the first I'm hearing of it too, but they seem to be on the right path. I wasn't aware of this setting. It should be gone soon. Evan makes a slicing gesture across his throat. The catch is, they're even offing nobles. I thought you were in the loop, young master. On hearing this, my legs almost buckle. Evan, from tonight onward, you're crashing in the room next to mine. The scene shifts to the orphanage. Yudi is tuned into Blue Moon's weekly briefing. Snow Wolf, the sin of pride, speaks cheerfully, wrapped in bloody disdain. I took out all the heads of the human traffickers. I warned them I'd let them off if they guessed my eye color correctly, but not a single one made the mark. And Lena, the greed-driven sin, turned their bodies into ash. The South is finished as well. Deos took out the illegal biolab. Radon, the sin of retribution, punishes those lowlifes stirring chaos in Avalon, reducing them all to mere pulp. After going through the report, Yudia feels a surge of satisfaction. We exist to serve the mighty moon. The Blue Moon is a secretive faction birthed by Yudia that venerates the Great Moon. Right then, Dea speaks up. It seems we've hit a snag. Isn't the ruler of Avalon the Count's eldest lad residing in that lordly mansion? While untangling matters, Dea stumbled upon a grave command. That eldest son appears to have set his sights on that lord. What did you just say? Yudia's face twists in disbelief. The atmosphere feels frozen. Snow Wolf, who was grinning moments ago, now perks up, scanning the area. Lena, who's been lurking in the shadows, suddenly fixes her gaze forward. Upon finishing the reading, Yudia finds it clearly states, eliminate Alan. She clenches the letter tightly. This cannot happen. Fast forward 2 years later. Count Faraday is no more. The official word, cardiac arrest. Those in the know can easily deduce Count Faraday's true demise was due to an overdose. The eldest son, Leo's blank expression, seemed to have predicted this outcome ages ago. Yet, he's more fixated on Blue Moon. As a result, the Count's death drifts away in silence, not a single tear shed. Back in the chamber, Evan asks me what's the next move since that guy will take charge next year. And at this moment, I've got my bags packed because my plan is to temporarily retreat to Rodemi for a spell. Rodemi is a quaint village situated south of the Faraday lands. Just as Alan departs, Leo gazes down from above, watching him. What should I do? Should I eliminate Alan? Even though that worthless brother lacks any skill, just as I'm beginning to savor 3 days of peace, I'm compelled to rush back to the Faraday estate because Leo, the firstborn of the Faradays, is dead. This throws me into deeper confusion. Why did he kick the bucket so fast? It's nothing like the supposed death scenario. He was slain with a blade through his heart. Who took Leo out? At the same time, I notice all the servants are eyeing me with odd looks. They seem terrified, yet I haven't done anything at all. Soon, Evan comes back from his search. What did you uncover? Leaning towards my ear, Evan's expression is one of disbelief. Young master, you're actually the puppet master behind Avalon's downfall overnight. What on earth? What's going on here? Time rewinds to 3 days ago, the day I left the mansion. Evan is baffled. Since I'm ditching the family, why not blend into a city? That's not an option because Rodemi is the final stage of my scheme. I've already liberated the 5 great sins from misfortune. The initial catastrophic plan has already been altered. Rodemi lacks any ties to the original narrative, and the Faraday family owns a residence there. It's the perfect hideout for me to chill. Facing Evan's bewilderment, I explain I have my own reasons. But Evan senses his young master is simply messing with him. He can't figure out what his master truly intends, and every move I make is under Leo's scrutinizing gaze. He initially planned to take Alan out himself right after their father's demise, but unexpectedly, Alan suggested going to the border personally. He thought he could avoid the kill, but due to Avalon's recent situation, he finds Alan incredibly irritating. Then he gestures for Armin to track that carriage. Upon hearing music, Armin questions, "Are you asking me to eliminate him?" The blunt inquiry shatters the quiet. Leo's brows knit together slightly. Armin, who has never questioned his orders, inquires, "Why are you suddenly questioning this?" Just as Leo is about to set him straight, unexpectedly, a blade drives straight through his chest. Leo never anticipated his most reliable subordinate would betray him, and his true identity is an Armin. He's set in from the Blue Moon organization. They abide by one principle, to be that Lord's blade against anyone wishing harm upon him. Blue Moon operatives act on their own, so he waited 2 long years for this moment. Sadly, Blue Moon has already given you your chance. Leo still clings to the hope that his organization will exact vengeance, oblivious to the fact that they've already been dismantled. Meanwhile, music, I'm flourishing comfortably in Rudheim. I indulge in hearty meals and sleep soundly. I rest and feast until satisfied. This is the noble existence I genuinely desire. Yet, after merely 3 days, my tranquil life shatters. The eldest son of the Faradays, Leo, has been slain. I must return to the Faraday estate to take control. So, wild rumors swirl around, and I'm labeled the heartless monster in their eyes. Can someone explain how it all unfolded like this? Evan reflects and concludes, "You're the only one who stands to gain from this whole scenario, young master." Leo was taken out after we departed. You became the heir with a flawless alibi. Avalon vanished, ensuring no one will pursue you regarding Leo's demise. You've morphed into a sword, saint-level assassin, orchestrating behind the Count's family. In truth, the current predicament leaves me defenseless. Although I've done nothing wrong, fingers are pointing squarely at me. Then I recall the Blue Moon organization Evan referenced. Could they be responsible? But Evan outright rejects my theory. From the guild's current insights, they weren't involved. Blue Moon leaves no bodies behind, yet they always mark their presence. Meanwhile, Avalon's followers were all slain by a sword. Hence, the assailant is likely a sword saint-level expert. But upon reflection, that makes perfect sense. Blue Moon is a grassroots group that emerged from nowhere and never even appeared in the game. So, who could have executed the deed? Meanwhile, Yudia cautiously inquires if anyone overlooked traces. Lena is the first to respond. No signs were left at all. Even the footprints were erased. Snow Wolf toys with the dagger in his grip. Only remnants of body parts remained. The remaining 486 Avalon members were handled by D's. The rest were split apart by Rodin. Yudia's eyes gleamed crimson. Perfect. Music. Avalon, once a dominating force in the kingdom, crumbled to dust in just 5 days. Then Raiden speaks up once more. However, I doubt the cleanup was entirely thorough. Yudia instantly grows anxious. Raiden then reveals intel about nobles connected to Avalon. Among them is a family named Aldia with strong ties. Yudia finishes the report and murmurs quietly, "You know what I'm about to say, right?" Everyone braces themselves. Rotten gives a slight nod. "Got it. I'll handle them quietly." Yudia exhales in relief, finally feeling some weight lift off her shoulders. Now, the only issue left is the guild matter post-investigation. They think this whole incident is clear of Blue Moon's involvement. All the guilds are on the same page, blaming a Sword Saint music for this nightmare unfolding. But deep inside, Yuria knows they can't drop their guard and need to keep a close eye on guild intel. This news must never reach that lord. No way. Deez, despite being that lord's kin, is perplexed by this. Initially, he fantasized about eliminating that lord. This can't be an order from him, right? Suddenly, Yuria's crimson gaze ignites. I've mentioned this before, right? We're all extensions of the lord's will. Our own thoughts are not our own, are they? Music. We can't act without orders. You get that? We only move when ordered. If that lord hasn't said anything, then we must avoid rash actions at all costs. Never let him down. Deez licks his dry lips, locking eyes with Yuria. He struggles to grasp how someone like Yuria, so skilled, can be tense and worried merely because of the fear of that person finding out. Though Diaz has his uncertainties, he wisely holds back any further questions. All these efforts flow towards the Great Moon. For that lord, the scene shifts elsewhere. Since Leo's funeral wrapped up, I've been entangled in family matters non-stop. This month has been relentless, but all I wish for is to be a carefree noble. Even though Leo ruffled a few feathers, he should have had 5 more years, but my brother's untimely deaths twisted the game's trajectory. I'm now burdened with all household duties as the heir, and everyone's been more on their toes than ever. I recall when the Count was around, they slacked off endlessly. Now it seems, in their eyes, if they don't push themselves twice as hard, young Master Alan will be their end. I can see the fear lurking in their demeanor. I truly hope they can steer things without needing my intervention. The scene shifts to evening. Evan gazes at the scene, still slightly taken aback because in just 2 years, the young master's magic has catapulted to level 2. Typically, this journey takes 4 years and needs certain magical gifts. Though I've just been casually practicing this magic for defense, music. Perfecting it demands meticulous control over magical energy. I might have grasped it, but I'm still a novice at best. Pursuing magic in this fantastical realm started thrilling, yet as I delved deeper, I found my magic core painfully lacking. The innate core is akin to an athlete's natural talent. Sadly, mine is minuscule compared to others, simply beyond belief. At this moment, Evan interrupts, as we've received an invite to a ball tonight. If my 2 brothers were alive, there's no way you drag me to such an event. But now, I'm Count of Faraday, and it's imperative to manage some social ties. This ball is happening in the southern part of the Astria Kingdom for noble mingling. I must seize this chance to form connections with other nobles, as weaving those relationships is vital for a peaceful existence. But it seems everyone else is too terrified to approach me. They're steering clear like I have the plague. Honestly, I had anticipated this outcome. After all, music. Alan is a reckless noble with humble beginnings, lacking any class. Though, 3 generations back, his family was a famed aristocratic line in the kingdom. Now they're infamous for raising the rowdiest playboys in the East. To put it more bluntly, they're demons who'll incinerate you if you cross them. But I'm ready for this. I honed my wine tasting skills for half a day. This wine stands out. That scent is something else. I'm tempted to snag a few bottles. Paired with a charming smile, there's no way they won't find me pleasant. The Count's daughter next to me starts to sweat profusely. She spins around and darts away. I'll let my father know to prepare them for you. Music. This leaves me speechless. How is this not what I expected? The nobles gossip that I'm even worse than those 2 brothers, hurling nasty accusations to force others into giving me wine. Evan behind me can only hold in his laughter and gives my shoulder a pat. After a lap around the ball, I've snatched a treasure trove. My time studying wine feels wasted. The Faraday name holds a worse reputation than I imagined. And with the rumors of me getting rid of my own brothers spreading, I seem to have turned into the social pariah. My social life is completely shattered. Yet, as I head outside for a breather, a woman takes notice of me. Outside, I ponder over where I went wrong. Suddenly, a soft voice speaks up. Excuse me, can we chat? Is someone finally addressing me? But when I turn, there's no one in sight. Looking down, I see a poised young lady gazing up at me hesitantly. Excuse me, I'm Loria, the 3rd daughter of Duke Aldea. Did she just mention the Aldea family? The Aldea family is one of the 3 major shadowy forces in Sicia, notorious as the Northern Rascals, right? How could someone who approaches me be an ordinary person? Yet why can't I recall such a significant character from the game? I doubt she even exists within the game's storyline. Loria cuts to the chase. Music. Please lend me your strength. I might not survive the night. I recall the Aldea family only had 4 characters in the game, hinting that she met her end before the story even kicked off. Loria opens up about her past. She was born to the Duke's favored concubine and survived solely under her father's protection. But now Degalia's health is faltering. If her father dies, her siblings will turn against her. I'm baffled. Music. Why would she turn to a total stranger like me for assistance? With your strength, this should be a piece of cake. That normally composed face reveals unease for the first time. I have to refuse. Music. Loria insists she won't let me help for free. If I succeed, she promises to grant me half her family's fortune. It's not that I'm unwilling to help her, but I'm barely keeping my own life afloat, so it's best not to give her any false hopes. Even if I wanted to lend a hand, I'm not some legendary powerhouse. When I glance back, I catch a glimpse of despair swirling in Loria's silent gaze. I click my tongue and turn back to her, still standing there. I wish you the best to ease the weight in my heart and muster a polite farewell. Music, honestly, I hope she finds a trustworthy ally. Meanwhile, every move I make is scrutinized by Blue Moon. Diaz contemplates telling Yudia about Alan's recent statements, but Lena gestures that he needn't fret since that girl is the sole Aldia member not on Radon's hit list. Deo's music instantly gets everything. If that's true, it simplifies a lot. They just need to keep an eye on that lord and block any gossip about the Avalon incident from reaching him. Just when I enter the reception hall again, a cool greeting catches my attention afresh. My heart races at this sound. Could I finally be about to make a noble ally? Music. But when I turn and see who it is, I freeze in shock. How can it be her? Naturally, anyone who comes my way isn't your ordinary noble. I offer Lady Genonia the usual noble greeting. Kalia looks surprised. You know who I am, I reply. You're quite the celebrity. After all, she's one of the 3 dark authorities in the Astria Kingdom. Aldia in the north, Faraday in the east, and Kalia, the first daughter of Count Genonia in the west. If Faraday is a street gang, then Genonia is a high-powered corporate group. I need connections that allow me to live in peace. For the sake of my beautiful, fulfilling life, I absolutely must avoid getting too tangled with her. Who could resist the allure of Lady Kalia? Kalia gazes at me with curiosity. I'd love to chat more. What do you think? I tell her that there are too many eyes and ears around, though my mind is racing with different thoughts. I only want her to let me leave as soon as possible. Kalia raises an eyebrow in surprise, then laughs with realization, just as the gossip suggests. While I'm utterly baffled, I look forward to our next encounter. Before I manage to say anything, she departs, leaving me dazed and confused. Meanwhile, Dace and the others pick up on something strange. A figure cloaked in black is watching that lord, yet music, they haven't been given orders to act on it. The scene shifts to over 10 days later. Evan and I arrive at a secluded canyon. Music finally tracked this spot down, though it was easy to locate in the game. In real life, it took us half a month of searching. The real reason I went to the ball was for this labyrinth. It's known as the Whispering Labyrinth. In the game, conquering this labyrinth rewards you with a solid artifact. Luckily, I still remember the strategy to clear it. Entering the valley, we're greeted by a door etched with mysterious runes. Evan senses the intrigue in this place, but he's even more curious about how his young master knows about it. That's because I come here frequently. Realizing this, Evan freezes. I nearly let it slip while zoning out, so I recover quickly. Just kidding. Naturally, I have my ways. Evan is left speechless. The young master always delivers jokes with a straight face. Inside, the puzzle hovers beneath a pair of massive stone hands. If the answer is incorrect, those giant hands will come crashing down, reducing people to mere pulp. But in such a situation, how can the young master maintain his cool? Even after serving him for 4 years, Evan still struggles to grasp his mindset. And how does he know far-off matters like their second nature? The reason Evan sticks with this mysterious young master is that all his actions are for the greater good. As I figure out the puzzle, the treasure vault of the labyrinth finally swings open. Before us is a sea of gold and silver riches. But my eyes are drawn to a plain-looking black ring because I know taking anything else would spell disaster. The ring of constraint is precisely what I need. The moment we emerge from the labyrinth, Evan's face registers pure shock. Was this part of your plan too? The instant we exit the maze, Evan's face is a picture of astonishment. Did you foresee this too? Just outside the maze, a swarm of golems blocks their way. Evan realizes he can't take these creatures down, but he has to find a way for the young master to escape. Observing this, music, I wave my hand. Allow me to take care of this. I stride right up to the golems. Evan starts to sweat coldly, knowing the young master's second-tier magic stands no chance against these foes. Before he can protest, I casually recite the fragment of the incantation tied to the ancient will of Nyakura. Grant me the might of restraint. Music. As my words echo, the entire world suddenly comes to a standstill. An otherworldly voice intones, "State 2 executable constraints." I'm awestruck by this mesmerizing scene. In the game, this would merely trigger a dialogue box. The labyrinth reward, the ring of constraint, just like its name implies, places limits on the user while providing corresponding benefits. I exhale slowly and recite the constraint terms I've meticulously prepared. First term, when casting magic, I must strictly use Babylonian gestures. Music. What do you desire to achieve with this? The ability to warp the laws of reality ever so slightly. The constraint accepts my wish. Second term, when casting magic, I must employ Babylonian phrases. What do you want from this? The same as before, the enigmatic voice lapses into a brief silence at my response. This causes me to freeze. Did I make a mistake? Just to be sure, I mimicked the moves from the skill manual. Here, you are required to use gestures and phrases as constraints to enhance magical power. I played through this countless times. There shouldn't be any slip-ups. After a music beat, the ethereal voice returns. I accept your petition. Mortal, who still remembers the ancient signs and forgotten mysteries. Thank you for embodying this will. Upon hearing this, I find myself puzzled. What does inheriting the will imply? Meanwhile, music, the ring of constraint begins to vanish. It appears the constraint was a success. Inheritor of the will, I will perpetually safeguard you. As the words fade, I'm yanked back to the present. Evan is trying to drag me away from the horde of golems. I realize even if I unleashed all my magic, I couldn't remotely unleash lightning's full potential since my Clear's throat magic core firmly defines my limits. So after acquiring the ring of constraint, I aim to experiment with what power limitations and costs can produce. The instant the refractive incantation escapes music, my lips, a soft glow erupts into scintillating arcs. Azure light, along with crackling sounds, transforms that initially small orb into blue brilliance, morphing into hundreds, thousands music of rays, then coalescing into a colossal sphere. In that very moment, I execute the hand signs, thumb pressed against the middle finger knuckle, akin to initiating a flicking motion. Music. Diffract as the final incantation resounds. The illuminated golems within the canyon seem trapped in suspended time. Lightning courses through their forms. Dozens of golems dissolve instantly, offering no resistance. Evan, who was just desperately rushing toward the golems to save Alan, now stands frozen, mouth agape. Is this still a human feat? Evan can't hide his intrigue and asks, "Have you been concealing your power music this entire time?" I reply, "I haven't hidden anything. Is this truly just second-tier magic?" I can assure you that it is. Evan's expression is one of pure astonishment. Yet, even while I project calmness on the outside, chaos swirls within me. I mean, I had no clue the magic could unleash such staggering power. In this turn-based duel, Sasita, you're able to amplify magic with hand gestures and spells during a turn. Just like when I executed Chain Lightning moments ago, I deployed music 4 sets of incantations, refraction, deflection, azure light, and diffraction pattern, making it a total of 5 rounds of enhancements. To put it differently, music, I simply took advantage of a remarkable game feature to unleash massive lightning magic. However, thanks to my limitations, I must use gestures and incantations to activate all magic. This magic is roughly boosted twofold. I shrug it off. After all, this second-tier spell possesses average power. The outcome far surpassed what I anticipated. I was taken aback myself. Evan, trying to find his way out of the labyrinth, is completely drained. This is a greater strain than any battle. He ponders who on earth crafted this vexing maze. I recall that this labyrinth has a different title. When I scrolled through map guides and community discussions, it somehow earned the name Penna's Labyrinth. It was created by someone named Parian. Penna, music, has no clue who that is. Anyway, we should head back for now. Using gestures that align with the magic's traits boosts its might, and selecting suitable incantations amplifies its attributes. While it's merely a game mechanic, the icons here retain their familiar form from the game. Only the values fluctuate differently. Just now, each incantation I uttered visibly altered the outcome. Is it possible that my exceptional magic control enables me to notice these structural shifts? Once my magical energy replenishes, I absolutely must try out several experiments. Meanwhile, Lena has been observing every move I make, and her curiosity only deepens. After Alan and the others depart, Lena arrives in this location, able to decipher the enigmatic text etched into music the wall. It's the language of the Arloinub Empire from a forgotten age of outer deities, inscribed by the coward Pern for a friend doomed to solitude. As she reads those words, Lena can't help but chuckle derisively. In an epoch when outer gods wreaked havoc, he pushed back the assaults of the Black Tides countless times, even defeating Era, who could compel believers to willingly part with their hearts with a mere glance. The great and illustrious Emperor Pern. Lena, music born as the heir to the ancient library and tasked with the grave mission of a boundary keeper, instantly recognizes the inscription on the doorframe. It was crafted by that fellow known as Pain. Alan's voice suddenly resonates in Lena's thoughts, even though she realizes he's in the sphere of influence of Queen Udia, who will undoubtedly be chronicled in history. Certainly, not an ordinary individual. Yet for such a grand lord to be someone even Peen would hold in esteem, and the magic he just wielded seems simple, but the chants were remarkable. Affirmation and doubt clash violently in her mind. As she contemplates, Lena's entire body quakes with reverence, her gaze instinctively shifting towards Alan, her expression revealing a growing light of admiration. Lena senses an unseen presence and casts a glance aside. Diaz is already positioned there, his purple-gold eyes shimmering subtly as he inclines his head to her. That figure in black is no more. His head was twisted unnaturally twice midair, yet I didn't detect the slightest hint of magical energy. After absorbing Diaz's report, Lena goes silent for a moment. We need to inform Lady Udia about this. After a quick exchange music, the two figures vanish into the night. The scene shifts to the Genonia estate, where Kalia reflects on the Alan she encountered earlier. Those rumors are proving true. Her expression is so icy, it sends shivers down the spine. Her eyes are like an endless void, impossible to meet. Despite the Genonia family's renown, Alan recognized her even though she rarely shows up at social gatherings. Father, doesn't this strike you as odd? As Kalia snaps her fingers, Count Genonia drops to the ground without a fight. It appears she's already turned her father into a pawn under her command, taking control of the entire Genonia family. So how did that guy piece it all together? He even uncovered the guards I had lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a man rushes in. "Lady Kalia, there's an emergency in your quarters." Once Kalia reaches her room, she finds her shadow guard lifeless. His seal remained unused, indicating he died without spilling any secrets. Kalia realizes the individual had been strategically placed in her room. How intriguing. He gained a massive advantage over me right at our first encounter, yet I'm utterly oblivious to what Kalia is theorizing. After Loria departs from the ball, she clenches her hand and lets out a bitter chuckle. So, I've been the fool all along. The Alan she encountered exceeds the reach of ordinary folks. Duke Alia is regarded as a noble lord by every faction, a gentleman whom neither the left nor right dares to offend easily. Yet, his frigid gaze felt reminiscent of her father's. So, at that moment of their encounter, Loria grasped this last thread of hope, but it was ultimately in vain. The stakes she could muster were nothing but borrowed from Duke Aldia's goodwill, music, a false strength that could vanish in an instant, because looming over her were 4 other siblings. Compared to them, she was merely a pitiful wretch that the Aldia family could easily do without. Without her father's love, Loria knows she would be dismissed by her siblings in no time. Yet, just as she steels herself for this tragic destiny, a maid's scream ruptures her despair. Young masters, Felon and Gig are dead. Loria stands bewildered as she processes the news. Of the 4 siblings who tormented her for years, 2 are suddenly gone, and before Loria can react, another trembling shout echoes from a maid upstairs. Young Master Tamil and Lady Mariana are dead. On hearing this, Loria dashes upstairs. Upon witnessing this unbelievable scene, Loria Music stands paralyzed. What on earth is going on? At this moment, above the Aldia estate, Music, a shadowy figure, moves with intent. It's completed its dark mission. Loria understands these people wouldn't unmask themselves so quickly. After all, there were countless heirs. But now, all her siblings lie dead. It makes no sense. In this whirlwind of chaos, Loria remembers the words of that man before he departed. "Still, I wish you good luck." So, he's behind all this chaos. As the thought strikes her, goosebumps crawl over her shaking body. Just like that, Loria becomes Aldia's only rightful heir overnight, totally unaware of the demon she's made a deal with. But now, there's no turning back. The aftermath of betraying him, her siblings' fate lays it all bare. So, now she's left with just one way forward. Fast forward 2 months later, I find myself receiving a letter from Count Alia. This perplexes me since I've had no interactions with them whatsoever. When I pop it open, I find a bottle of wine and a card inside. This wine hails from the prestigious lands of Cernance. Only 3 bottles are made each year, and each one is worth thousands in gold coins. I check with their butler again, and indeed, this comes from Loria, who personally prepared this gift. The butler's words leave me puzzled. In just 2 months, Loria, the 3rd daughter of Duke Aldia's lineage, has stepped into the role of Duke Aldia. After Count Aldia's demise, Loria seamlessly ascended to the Count's title. Thinking back, she could barely even enter this office before. All her siblings mysteriously passed away. Yet, she came through unscathed thanks to an airtight alibi. Each one was taken out while she was at the ball, and her crew was wiped out by her siblings when she returned to the Count's estate. In other words, she never had the power to fight back. At this moment, Loria reflects on past events and breaks out into a cold sweat. So, he even exploited such circumstances. Although Alan coldly turned her down, behind the scenes, he managed everything flawlessly. What's even more suspicious is that even when all of the Duke's heirs died over a month ago, he never reached out. After deep thought, she arrives at the only logical conclusion. Alan is orchestrating an elaborate scheme. While the Aldia family wields some influence, it pales in comparison to his. Essentially, he has other ambitions. Faraday has become a titan in this shadowy realm solely through commerce, and what he lacks, the Aldia family possesses. The only thing Loria can deduce is political power, so he aims to harness that political strength, the Aldia prestige. Loria knows all too well that once a pact is struck, it's set in stone. Therefore, she must manage everything correctly right now. Still, she must show her appreciation. Loria's previously expressionless lips curl into a smile she's unaware of for the first time. I hope he enjoys my gift. After the gift is delivered, the Aldia butler exits. I didn't expect that Loria, who was under threat of death, actually ascended to a count. I sense that something isn't right. The scene transitions to several months later. Now there are just 5 years left until the original story unfolds. Young master, or should I call you Count now? Although the inheritance ceremony hasn't taken place yet, I can now rightfully use the title Count Faraday. However, none of this was in my original strategy. My initial aim wasn't to become a count, but instead to enjoy a fulfilling life under a noble title. Even if this veers from my original goal, it doesn't have to be a negative turn. Then, Evan hands me a letter. This is from Udia. Meanwhile, I ask him about any updates on Leo's assassin. Evan shakes his head. So far, the guild has come up empty. However, Evan seems puzzled. Your goal isn't revenge, is it? I clarify that this is merely a precaution. After all, the ripple effect I've caused has altered the game's storyline. Then I unfold Udia's letter. eager to see what's in it this time. The lines are filled with snippets of the orphanage's daily life. Recently, Diaz has been messing around with marionette shows. That girl, Snow Wolf, is always lost in games with her pals. Lena quietly reads books and crafts, while Redon has suddenly become fascinated with arranging garden landscapes. As I glance over these daily updates, a grin creeps across my face like a proud dad. Even though the 5 great sins aren't my flesh and blood, I've been nurturing these kids in the orphanage for 5 years, and I can't help but feel a genuine fatherly attachment. I then turn to Evan, asking, "What age is Yudia these days?" Surprise flickers in Evan's eyes. She should be 19. Most of the kids I brought back are around that age too. The moment I realize this, their once innocent, kind faces shatter in my memory. They're the very ones destined to wreak havoc. Just the thought sends chills down my spine, and the fact they owe me gratitude is ironic. I let out a dry chuckle. They really ought to venture out into the world now. Evan nods, as if he grasps my intention. But weren't you the one who took them in back then? I tell Evan there's no need anymore. They've matured. It's high time to think about their futures. The purpose behind gathering this lot was to stave off their awakening, as the 5 great sins threatening the kingdom since music. They've received ample training. Keeping them cooped up in an orphanage no longer serves a purpose. I think back on each of their distinct talents. Yudia commands music, faith. Deos is a swordsmanship prodigy. Lena delves into research. Snow Wolf has the heart of a warrior. Music. Radon boasts apostle capabilities. If I can place them in fitting roles, won't that create an unbeatable force? This plan could work wonders. Since I'm writing letters, I might as well toss in a thoughtful gift for each of the 5 great sins stepping into the world. These items will be distributed sooner or later. Anyway, as the hours fly by, evening swiftly approaches. I spend a significant amount of time crafting 5 letters, seal them, and hand them over to Evan. As Evan departs, I ponder that when they rise to success in the future, I should be able to claim a slice of the pie. The scene shifts to a few days later in the depths of the Eastern Orphanage. This time, the Great Moon has delivered unique directives to each of us. 5 young individuals peruse Alan's letters one at a time, their curiosity piqued over the tasks the Lord has laid out for them, except for Yudia. The others are left scratching their heads in confusion. Is this really a mission? Why does it feel like a casual chat? Yudia asserts, "See, I told you the Lord cloaks his commands in everyday conversation. This has been the case all along." Yudia then reveals the first letter. It outlines targets for elimination, assigns tasks, and demands we report back afterward. That's when he entrusted Blue Moon to me and selected each of us personally. Then Deos pipes up. This is to guard against information leaks, but he's still not entirely clear either. Music. Shouldn't we meet him in person or use magical communicators? Radon also agrees with Deos. If leaks are the concern, why music communicate via letters? Facing their uncertainties, Yudia reiterates, "Let's not forget, our only task is to follow the orders." Seeing the unwavering trust in Yudia, Deos is confused, but doesn't dare push for more clarification. Snow Wolf laughs, breaking the tension. Let's dive into the other missions. Moments later, everyone whispers as they read their letters. The Great Moon guides me toward the Night Kingdom of Caliburn. Snow Wolf heads for the desert colony, even though deserts are her least favorite. Radon is tasked with the entertainment capital, Rexus. Lena's route leads her to the maze city, Raltania. And for Yudia, her destination is the Holy Kingdom, Rosario. The letters detail the missions we need to carry out next. Diaz may be clueless about why, but clearly, Lord wants him to step up as a knight. Not only does the letter outline the profession, but it also vows ongoing financial support, with presents earmarked for each individual. Each gift is placed at a designated spot. They'll find out what it is upon arrival. As Yudia's voice fades, I hope everyone keeps this in mind. Never speak of Blue Moon, unless that Lord brings it up first. The 5 great sins, destined to bring about ruin, now shrouded in the faith of Blue Moon, set off to complete the tasks outlined in Alan's letters. 3 months fly by in no time. At this moment, I'm deep into exploring the distinctions between magic and incantations. While I've gathered theories from books, personal experimentation is still necessary. Music. Meanwhile, I check on Leo once more. Evan says it's still unchanged. The guild hasn't made any headway. Music. I realize the butterfly effect has spiraled beyond my control. After all, I've altered the path of the 5 great sins. Even Loria Aldia, who was supposed to meet her end, has become a player in this game. She's aggressively climbing the political ladder with rising power and influence. It seems the situation is spinning out of control. I then gesture to Evan to halt the search for Leo. Clearly, there's a hidden force pulling the strings here. Music. In this climate, nearly nothing escapes the Information Guild's watchful eyes. Even if I delve into forbidden territories, the outcome might just be chaos and destruction. The thought sends chills down my spine. If this leads to demise instead, then trying to prevent it is pointless. As long as I don't meddle in their matters, they shouldn't turn against me. Unless I make the first move, there's no reason for them to strike at me. There's no music purpose in digging deeper. Upon hearing this, Evan assures me he'll get the guild to cease their investigation this afternoon. Meanwhile, Evan recalls something else. Diaz has recently been named a Knight of Caliburn. I'm taken aback. I never imagined he'd rise to knighthood so fast. The scene shifts. 3 more months roll by, and fresh news about Diaz arrives. He's already established a knight order. I'm bewildered. That kid was knighted less than 2 months ago. Music, right? Doesn't creating a knight order demand at least expert-level prowess? Evan shares my confusion. For news to arrive here this swiftly, Caliburn must be in quite the music frenzy. Rumor has it that at this pace, a 5th Holy Knight will emerge in under 10 years. The scene shifts. Half a year passes. It's been a full year since they left the orphanage. Just as I'm settling into the Count's responsibilities, Evan delivers shocking news yet again. Diaz has become one of Caliburn's only 5 Holy Knights. I freeze for 2 seconds. Don't you have to be a sword master to earn that title? When I say sword master, I mean sword saint. The whispers of sword saints whirl through my mind like a spinning lantern. In Sicida, a sword saint must solidify an aura blade as their base and must awaken a unique skill known as derivative. So, Diaz must have truly become that type of sword saint. However, judging by Evan's insights, Diaz isn't quite a sword master yet, just a half-step shy. Apparently, he hasn't yet condensed a derivative skill, but he did manage to snag the Holy Knight title. Rumor has it, even the 4th blade, Fiora, couldn't handle him in a duel. Maybe he's been pushed up the ranks for good reason. The conflict between Caliburn and the northern barbarians has dragged on for more than a decade. Last year, one of the 5 Holy Knights fell in the line of duty. Elevating Diaz to the rank of Holy Knight not only boosts morale but also sends a firm message to enemies. Hypothetically, acquiring a derivative skill usually takes Diaz 10 to 15 years. Yet, the current First Blade and Reinhardt achieved it at 32. Reinhardt, I know this guy. In the 3rd major storyline, he shows up as a temporary ally without fail. He began honing his sword skills at 5, becoming the youngest sword saint in history. Even with such extraordinary talent, it took him nearly 20 years. Diaz did it in just 1 year. Is he even a normal human? Evan suddenly clicks his tongue, a hint of jealousy evident. Alan instinctively rubs his chin, feeling the rough stubble. In other words, the higher they soar, the more I stand to gain. Music. Meanwhile, I spot the letters resting on the side table. In nearly a year, only Udia's name lingers on the correspondence list. Am I not even worthy of the leftovers? Even after reaching that holy kingdom, Udia still sends regular letters home. Inside those letters, she details the deadly sins she's grappled with since childhood. While their little group seems lively, they've never laid eyes on me. They should at least express gratitude for the gifts I sent. I feel an ache in my chest, but I quickly shake off the thought. I should appreciate that they aren't the 5 great sins hell-bent on wrecking the kingdom. So, as long as they're standing strong, everything is as it should be. The scene shifts to Caliburn's central district, home to a grand building that serves as the training ground for Diaz Knight Order, Eclipse, and also houses the commander of the Eclipse Knights, the kingdom's youngest swordmaster in history, Diaz Macarin. Diaz exhales softly, his gaze lazily drifting over the intricately carved curtains facing the manor. Brother, a delightful call rings from the courtyard, where a girl in a puffy dress stands on tiptoe, waving at him. Sunlight plays in her hair, and Diaz can't help but smile slightly. A full year has passed, but the memory still brings a flush of embarrassment. Years ago, Diaz lost everything to the Black Goat, including Ciri. After that, all he was left with was rage and resentment. Though Blue Moon saved him, that didn't guarantee his loyalty to them. Blue Moon offered him a shot at revenge. Thus, he followed their directives, engaged in training, and undertook perilous missions. These missions became his stepping stones towards combating dark forces, until a year ago when he received a unique assignment. At the time, he didn't think much of the gift mentioned in the letter, but decided to check it out anyway. Yet, upon arriving at the location specified in the letter, the sight before him left him speechless because Ciri, who should have perished at the Black Goat's hands, was now lively and unharmed at the inn. Just the thought of how he lost it upon seeing her, pulling her into a tight embrace, and crying is enough to make his ears burn. After Diaz got to the spot, Alan noted, Music saw Ciri here, who should have been dead at the Black Goat's hands. He was left baffled by what went down during all that time. Once this emotional chaos began to settle, Deos finally got the lowdown from Ciri about her challenges over the years. After being snatched by the Black Goat, she was trapped in a gloomy cage for ages. But just when they were hauling her off to her doom, a shaft of light burst through and changed everything. She seized that fleeting chance to break free, but life outside proved to be rough. Just when the traffickers were about to sell her into slavery, a mercenary named Evan showed up at the perfect moment and swooped in to save her. From that day, she received support from that lord. The letter Ciri showed was written in his own handwriting. I'm deeply thankful for everything he has done for me. Without him, I would no doubt be dead. After listening to Ciri's tale, Deos couldn't help but think, how could the great Blue Moon have foreseen all of this? After all, he never talked about family issues after signing with Blue Moon. While Udia picked up on the Black Goat's wrongdoings from residual traces, she didn't know any specifics. How does he know it all? But soon enough, he stopped fixating on that question. Instead, Udia's words echoed in his mind. That lord knows everything. One day, you'll grasp why I'm loyal to him. Deos mulled over words he once overlooked, suddenly gaining clarity. All the questions clicked together like pieces of a puzzle. Before, he failed to see why Yudia was so frantic, but now it seems he had been the foolish one. That lord had seen it all long ago. Looking back, his words back then indicated he was already aware of everything, subtly dropping hints for that child destined to stand alone. Noticing her troubled brother, Ciri speaks up, pulling him from his thoughts as he contemplates his thirst for revenge against the Black Goat. Music. That lord clearly knew all along. His blade acted on its own accord, yet he still opted for compassion. For a man consumed by hatred, Ciri's survival and that lord's discreet protection of her and his name was a gift more valuable than any treasure. At this moment, Deos finally realizes that Yudia's words weren't mere idol worship. No matter what unfolds, Deos silently promises to repay this music debt. From now on, he'll adhere to the moon's will, become a knight in Caliburn, the pinnacle of Caliburn's knights and its king. Now, he must take the first step in his journey. Regardless of the struggles he faces, he dreams of the day he can express his gratitude and offer him a satisfying return, proving his worth beneath the moonlight. Quietly reciting the Eclipse Knight's battle cry, he sets off on a quest to subdue the barbarians, music, to establish a formidable knight order worthy of the illustrious Blue Moon. Now the scene shifts to another perspective. Since coming back from last year's hallowed ball, I've been consumed with diving deep into magical incantations. Through countless experiments, it's clear these incantations can truly transform the essence of magic. Look at the 4 incantation sets I utilized while scouring the ruins. Refraction amplifies the incompleteness of finished magic, doubling music the distribution range. Deflection shatters the magic's form, leading projectiles to undergo dimensional shifts. Azure light crashes down like thunder, boosting parallel magic with devastating hits. And at last, the diffraction pattern provides magical penetration effects. Furthermore, I've uncovered several fundamental rules of incantations. Always avoid repeating the same incantation. No incantations can be used that go against the rules of music, and you can't use more than 5 incantations in total. Breaking any of these 3 strict rules will result in magic failure or a major loss of power. My magic core is too small, allowing me to practice only once each music day. Given the context of this era, the records of Babylonian gestures and phrases have vanished long ago, leaving me to figure it all out on my own. Surprisingly, I find the journey enjoyable, even though my original goal was merely self-defense. Now, let's music put our 2 months of efforts to the test. As I recite the incantations, seemingly useless magic finds a meaningful anchor. The flickering lightning before me halts with my spell, holding its explosive shape as if time has stopped. Compressing with the soft sound of the next incantation, the lightning sphere, once the size of a large ball, shrinks down to the size of a marble while remaining still. Music. As I say the word decomposition, the lightning sphere bursts apart instantly, forming a clear target. Immediate bloom. Releasing my tense fingers and vocalizing the final incantation, a giant lightning tree erupts from the earth. The dazzling lightning tree solidifies in an eternal stance, as if someone hit pause on a lightning strike. Watching this, I nod in approval. The order of incantations undeniably impacts the magic structure. When I placed decomposition first earlier, it had no such effect, but just then, a gasp of surprise jolts me. Turning around, I spot Kalia from the Count of Genonia's household and a middle-aged man. At this moment, her eyes are wide, and her jaw has dropped. Her usual dignified demeanor is utterly shattered. Is this origin magic? How did she end up here? The middle-aged man shares the same look of shock. His expression mirrors Kalia's perfectly. Using origin magic indicates that his level has ascended to the 7th tier mage category. Their conversation leaves me stunned. I'm a 7th tier mage, but Kalia witnessed Alan conjuring magic. The two soon find themselves in the reception area of Count Faraday. Kalia's visit to Count Faraday serves 2 main purposes. She clearly possesses trump cards capable of delivering severe damage to Genonia, yet she remains inactive. Therefore, she seeks to comprehend Alan's true motives. The second reason is to personally assess the power of the mysterious organization under Count Faraday, rumored to be formidable. To catch a glimpse of what lies beneath, Kalia considers a strategy involving the 5th tier mage, Bianco. He was expelled from the Magic Tower for delving into excessively cruel magical experiments. His strength is unparalleled. A powerhouse capable of wiping out an entire battalion single-handedly. Bianco consistently exudes arrogance, even towards the Jonia family that backs him. But the expression on his face now is a first. Music fear has engulfed him. Was that power I displayed earlier truly origin magic? Just then, a voice breaks into Kalia's music thoughts. What brings Count Genonia here? Alan's gaze mirrors that of last time. Those cold, merciless eyes slowly scan Bianco and Kalia, revealing his utter disinterest in the matter. Kalia quickly responds, "My sincerest apologies, Music Count Faraday. I was uncivil. I was thrilled to finally meet you, yet this disrespect unfolded." After a brief pause, I break the silence. No reason to be so judgmental, but there's something I need to clarify. What I used was far from true origin magic. My magical skill is merely average, hardly reaching the 2nd tier at most. This mage might have realized that magic serves little purpose. I clarify that it can neither defend nor attack. But for them, these words imply something entirely different. That somber expression seems to caution. Today's events must remain a secret. Just like witnessing basic second-tier magic, Bianca shakes with fear and speaks first. My apologies, my lord. I misjudged. Kalia's pupils narrow slightly. It's the first time she's heard Bianca use such respectful terms. On hearing this, I nod with pleased understanding. With the misunderstanding cleared, what brings you to Faraday? Laria stumbles at the direct question, fumbling to gather herself. Just a casual visit. I happen to be conducting business nearby and thought I'd drop by, Count. I then inquire if there's anything special, and Kalia swiftly shakes her head. I study Kalia for a moment, speaking regretfully due to my urgent duties. Unfortunately, I have little time to engage with you both. So Kalia rises immediately. That's perfectly fine. I was merely passing by anyway. Thank you for your valuable time. I'll take my leave now. As she steps out, I call out to her. If you wish for a conversation partner, you might visit Duke Aldia. From my perspective, your personalities would mesh well, so you should get along nicely. Kalia meets my indifferent smile, though her lips and tongue feel parched. If you suggest it, I'll visit the Duke. The carriage takes Lady Genonia further away. Evan's confused voice drifts in the breeze. That infamous family from the West. Why did she seek us out? How would I know? I have no clue about Kalia's intentions. I shouldn't have flaunted my magic, stirring up needless trouble. I can only hope rumors about misusing origin magic don't spread. This cursed realm is a dark fantasy world filled with lunatics. Those who lose their minds out of jealousy towards the strong are everywhere. Still, she should grasp what I meant earlier, right? Although I brought up Duke Galdia, these two families are fierce adversaries. Lady Genonia ought to visit her and avoid looking for me. At this moment, the carriage steadily moves onward. Kalia speaks again. Was the magic Count Faraday used genuinely origin magic? Oddly, Bianca does not reply right away. It's not origin magic. Kalia looks confused. Then your reaction just now was due to Kalia's perplexed question. He exhales deeply to steady himself. Origin is the ultimate domain for all mages, like a canvas for limitless creation. Only mages who achieve 7th tier or higher can craft their unique laws upon this absolute canvas. However, Count Faraday's magic is a different case. To be precise, his magic is tearing the entire canvas apart. In simple terms, he's warping rules that should remain eternally fixed. Yonkol suddenly lowers his voice. He contained uncontrollable thunder in midair, then wrecked the magical formation he created. Yet those array patterns continued to function more bizarrely afterward. When that man showcased magic that defies logic, the patterns dancing in his crimson pupils were unmistakably those of some long-forgotten great deity. With that thought, Bianca abruptly unleashes her magic energy to sever her wandering mind. It feels like his head is ready to burst open. He's delved into the arcane secrets of an ancient time and knows just how perilous it is to keep diving into the truth. His only piece of advice? Never cross paths with Count Faraday, and especially never face him directly. Right now, Kalia can't help but let out a wry smile. Alan's gaze locked onto her, his face a blank slate, his eyes music, resembling still, fathomless waters. She couldn't make out his true motives. Suddenly, his last music, words rush back to her. It dawns on her that she's merely a pawn on this chessboard. The narrative shifts to 5 months later. Today marks 2 years since the children departed the orphanage. At this time, I handle the Count's dealings like a pro. While managing the official tasks, I turn to Evan and ask, any fresh news about the kids? Evan hesitates. Nothing from Udia, but there's a tidbit from Genonia. I caught wind that the Genonia Count's household has allied with the Aldia Duke's family. This revelation catches me off guard. 2 major dark forces have actually joined forces. Evan affirms it's a covert agreement made in the shadows, so outsiders would never have caught wind of it. This alliance is genuine. But I start to panic. I led those sins down a different path, and now I'm stuck dealing with a coalition of 2 dark powers. Is the kingdom of Astria on the brink of collapse? I suddenly remember what I told Kalia months prior. Did my words drive them to unite? I quickly dismiss that notion. Kalia is fierce and aloof, music, while Loria bears the Duke Aldia's spirit. Those two could never work together. Surely, this alliance will crumble soon. Yet, I think about writing a letter to Kalia in case I came off too harsh and distant before. I sincerely apologize. It's just that I struggle with expressing myself. Music, I hope this doesn't come across as an excuse. After penning it, I have Evan take it to her. Then I glance at the note on my desk, where even the name is faded. Music, I wonder how Radon and Snowwolf are faring. Since Udia mentioned in her letter that they had reached their destinations, I haven't heard a word from them. They haven't perished in the wild, have they? If she uncovered the gift I wrote about in my letter, she should stand out among all warriors. Music, she should embody the essence of the Golden Clan from the Babaya lineage. When utilized in the game, it provides a 20% critical hit chance boost. If it fell into the hands of Pride, she wouldn't just avoid villainy, but could emerge as a valued member of the Wolf Clan. I recall that's how that gear was described. I disclosed the locations of those hidden treasures to her, originally intending to use them as backup funds, hoping she'd thrive on her own merits. So, she should be alright, right? Even in a land of gladiators, with the gauntlet's strength, she should rise above. The scene shifts to the southern part of the desert colony. At the end of a dark, deep cave, a girl stumbles out into the light. Her previously short hair now cascades to her waist. Although worn out, her ordeal has reached its end. This golden claw gauntlet is precisely the gift the magnificent blue moon bestowed upon her. She once thought the tale of the essence of the Golden Clan was mere fiction, but after what she's endured, she realizes it's far from a fairy tale. At first, she dismissed the tale of the Golden Clan's essence as pure fiction. Yet after this experience, she understands it's much more than a mere myth. Back in her childhood, her mother whispered that their tribe descended from the ultimate king of beasts, the Golden Music Clan, bearers of the legacy from the rulers of all beastkind. The heart of the Golden Mane tribe is an ancient artifact handed down for centuries, bestowing them with power and authority. Now, Snowwolf has grasped its true nature and conquered all the challenges within her soul. Snowwolf recognizes that she couldn't have achieved this alone. It's all thanks to the magnificent Blue Moon. The Blue Moon served as both her savior from fatal experiments and the source of her strength to exact revenge on the Black Dragon who music destroyed her family. This debt is one she cannot ignore. She remembers Blue Moon's words as she departed. Even if she's not the sharpest, she realizes that her lord desires much more than just a simple gladiator. As her thoughts wander, Snowwolf's eyes are drawn instinctively to the gauntlet. That all-powerful gauntlet capable of channeling the strength of the Golden Clan. The instant her gaze meets the gauntlet, Snowwolf comprehends Blue Moon's true purpose, to rise as a celebrated gladiator, unite the dispersed Golden Clans, reclaim their former glory, and ultimately slay that Black Dragon. The moment Snowwolf exits the cave, a radiant moon hangs high in the sky. Blue moonlight cascades down, painting the entire desert in a brilliant azure. All of this is in service to that lord. She declares her commitment, which has now become her guiding mantra.